We do have SMU and TCU, a couple of 2-1 teams today. This was an early start. Hopefully, I don't go out of turn here. These are 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern start. I'm showing TCU favoring this one. I'm showing the total having snuck up here about a half a point over the last hour or so. And SMU, of course, beat Louisiana Tech 38-14. They were 21-point favorites in that one. They got the money. They lost to Oklahoma 28-11. They were 16-point dogs in that one. So just missed out on the money for the Stangs. SMU, the yardage was close. They both were right around 265 yards or so. SMU, look, they're, been doing pretty well over the last few seasons. They're not getting the money necessarily on all of them, but usually the problem is when they're laying points. As a dog, they've struggled also, though, at least over the last couple of seasons. 1-6 ATS as a road underdog for SMU. This one opened at around 7 and went down to 6, but it was bought back up here to the number of 7. TCU lost, of course, to that Colorado team in that first game. They beat Houston 36-13 as a 7-point favorite. It was funny the way that Colorado got up and down the field, that those 500 yards passing. I mean, we can look back. Okay, it's not the same TCU. I don't think they've fallen off the planet or anything, but not a similar team to last year, certainly. Dykes is pretty strong as a home favorite here, but feels like SMU can stay within this number. Dykes is 25-18 against the spread as a home favorite. TCU also 5-2 against the spread, non-conference games of late. So I'm probably going to be rolling with the dogs here in this one. The underdogs, the Mustangs and the Frogs. Not rolling with the Frogs, I'm rolling with the dogs. SMU for me here. Darren's on SMU. We're going to do it today. Thomas Lewis here again today. He's looking for the Discord. Can I get him in there? Can I get Thomas in the Discord? We'll figure it out. It's not hard. Okay, I'll pop it in the chat. Join me in there. I think I can come in with a lot of – you're probably going to see everything that just misses in FCS. I say I'm going to get a lot together. It's tough to kind of weigh down the premium card with the FCS plays. But certainly can get. I'm probably going to have at least 3 of them. So a lot of them just end up short. Those lines move so fast, and I don't get the line that I'm not as sharp as the sharps, so they're on it so quickly. I kind of react to the move a little bit. Then if I get my play, the sharps move my way, and then the line is still, tolerable for me or falls underneath the criteria that I'm looking for, then it's a premium. But these FCSs, everybody's like on the same side, it seems like, and then boom, it's gone. And what comes up for you in the Discord? Probably, I'm not going to give out anything, I feel like is going to, has passed the threshold, but something that I couldn't necessarily sell. And there's a heavy lineup today of FCS action. Okay, I'm on SMU here against TCU in this one. I'm going to take the points here. Look, as TCU obviously still inexperienced, I think, at quarterback. So is SMU, but Preston has looked pretty good so far, hasn't he? 798 yards, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So Talking about those road woes, but SMU's covered some spreads outside of the conference. I'll take a touchdown with SMU today. I'm going to take a look at the game between Texas Tech going up here against West Virginia. Texas Tech comes in 1-2, and West Virginia comes in with a 2-1 record. This one goes off 12:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific, and 3:30 Eastern. West Virginia so far, their two games against one 1A competition scored just 32 points, and they average about 255 yards in those two games. So far, they're just trying to get it together with a new quarterback. But meanwhile, Texas Tech, at least they have a senior quarterback in there right now, and Tech lost their two games to Division I competition, of course, but one of them was that crazy overtime game to Wyoming, 35-33. They, of course, lost at home as well to Oregon. And they won their 1AA matchup big time. So Texas Tech just 4-9 against the spread off of a win. They're also not a road favorite very often, maybe once a year. They're 3-7 against the spread as a road favorite. And here you have a Texas Tech team that now is a 5.5-point favorite on the road. Total is down here to 54 now. It opened 55.5. That probably where I'm going to go here is looking at the total in this one. Texas Tech, they have won and covered in the last 4 meetings. The series has been a pretty strong under here, but man, it's just ticking a little bit lower and has piqued my interest. I'm probably going to end up on the total in this one. Anything from the chat here with Texas Tech? West Virginia here for Darren. Maybe no consensus, right? All right. Maybe we'll just make the call here on this one with the Red Raiders and the Mountaineers. Hey, Terrell, thank you. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do 2 CFL games for sure. We haven't. Feels like we haven't missed. I know we had lost a couple, but man, it feels like we're at least hitting 75% here over the last since we've dropped them from the site. We're just crushing it pretty much. So appreciate that. And they were in the sides. It seemed like we had that too. Maybe I can give out the side as well, or save it for the Discord. We'll see. We'll see on that. All right. Texas Tech and West Virginia here in this one. And, well, that line just keeps inching lower and lower. That's the way I was kind of, considering heading at first. But now that it got to 54, it says 54.5 there on the screen. But all right. I'll tell you what, I'm going to end up here on Tech to win this one on the road. I'm going to lay 5.5 points here. I'm going to lay 5.5 at open 3. Can't give it out as a premium. I like Texas Tech. Oh, they better, let's see if West Virginia can get anything going. But I'm gonna lay Tech here instead. I know I was talking total, but let's just roll with Texas Tech here in this one. I can't get involved with a premium now. Texas Tech -3 was very interesting to me. And Nathan says, let it go up even further, or he'll buy some points here. He likes West Virginia, possibly. James Avery on West Virginia. Oklahoma State and Iowa State. Take a look at this one now with these two. Certainly you have right now anyway with these two teams, I would say interesting. What time? Let's see. This one goes off at 7 Eastern, and 4 Pacific. Oklahoma State comes in with a 2-1 record. Iowa State 1-1. Iowa State trying to pick up the pieces, certainly a little bit from the gambling scandal, which sent some players off this roster. Certainly some, including Deckers. He withdrew from school, so they've got a freshman quarterback in there right now who's completing about 62, 63%, I think, and 550 yards so far. Iowa State lost to Iowa 20-13. They also was lost at Ohio 10-7. So, or no, they beat Ohio 10-7 for their victory. Oklahoma State, of course, got crushed by South Alabama 33-7 in their loss. They did win on the road. They beat Arizona State, remember, 27-15 as a 2.5-point favorite. So we know Oklahoma State has a good, solid quarterback in Bowman. He's passed for over 5,000 yards in his career. He's got 34 touchdowns. Having played at a couple of stops so far. So veteran there for the Cowboys. All right, Oklahoma State 13-6 against the spread in the last 19 conference games. That's certainly something interesting of note. And the total here, can it go any lower? 36.5. Can Iowa State hold down Oklahoma State? It feels like they should. I mean, that feels like the direction I kind of want to go, even with the lowest total on the board. I mean, I feel like it's going to be an under. Not sure Iowa State. They're at home, so what do you guys have on this one? I'm probably going to end up on the under. Yeah, exactly, John. They are trying to get. Nice to have you, Jonathan. Appreciate that. Nathan on the Cyclones here. All right. I'm going to be on the under here as my play. Under 36.5. I don't think it's going to, move very much off of that. It opened 35.5. Hello to Takia. Open 35.5 now, 36.5. So we talked about, Oklahoma State's success in conference, and Iowa State has gone just 7-11 in their last 18 conference games. But it should be interesting to note that since Campbell's come on at Iowa State, they are 23-14 against the spread off of a loss. All right. Take another one here, Arizona and Stanford. Arizona, pretty big favorite right now by 13 points on the road against the Wildcats. Let's see what I have for you here in this one. Arizona comes in with a 2-1 record so far. They lost at Mississippi State. They beat UTEP by 3 touchdowns. They also beat a 1AA team. Wildcats, they've been pretty good on offense so far. They gained over 950 yards in those 2 division games against Division 1A teams anyway. This is the first time that Arizona has been a favorite on the road since before the pandemic. And they're favored by 2 touchdowns here over Stanford. Wow. Stanford comes in 1-2. They've been giving up big-time yardage, gave up over 1,000 yards in a couple of losses. They lost last week to Sacramento State. That was a school that Taylor used to coach for. So now Stanford did win at Hawaii. Don't know how you want to weigh that game a little bit. They did win that one 37-24, but Stanford gave up 355 yards in that game. So Stanford trying to, pick it up a little bit, and they're heading to if they're heading to the ACC. Sure, they'll be competitive in there, but you don't want to go over there with kind of the way they're playing right now. They didn't return a lot of guys, so they're kind of just getting it back together. Last 2 years, Stanford 2-7 against the spread as a home underdog, and they've been terrible in conference. 9-24 last 33 against the spread in the Pac-12. So can Arizona roll here? This one opened as low as 8, and now is all the way. We saw it touch 13.5 before it's kind of come back down here to 13.5. This total at 60. I'm going to end up on the over here. It's probably not a super decisive premium style over, but down at 60, it opened 62.5, and I already had it a little bit stronger, I think, than that. It might only be just a field goal advantage by my ratings here, but I'm going to give it out on the show. I do expect points here. So better chance, I think, to go over 60 for me. A road favorite does temper my enthusiasm a little bit. Takia wants to go over here. Thomas maybe taking the points here. Appreciate you guys. Mississippi State is going to take on South Carolina tonight in Columbia. And I'll tell you this, South Carolina is a pretty popular play with, some of the big-time handicappers that I've seen. And it's going to be hard for me not to agree with them. The only thing that's going to keep me off of them now is the fact that I don't know if it's because so many services, we usually don't talk about it like that, but it just feels like big-name cappers are on South Carolina in this game. And I'm going to be on them too. I'm going to be on them, and I'm going to lay 6 points. It opened 4. There were some 3.5s. It was quickly bet up to 5.5, and now we're looking at 6. So I don't think I get into a premium here now on this. Let me just give it out here on the show as my play. South Carolina does come in 1-2, but the money seems to be rolling on them. Mississippi State is 2-1. And they've done a nice job. Remember, Coach Leach passed away, and they kind of had to fix things. I mean, it's not an easy process, even though that seems like it wasn't an eternity ago. It was just within the last year or so, within the last year, right? So Mississippi State beat Arizona 31-24 as a 9-point favorite. They lost to LSU 41-14. Mississippi State pretty good as a road dog, 7-3 against the spread over the last 3 years, getting the points. You have a veteran quarterback here for sure. Mississippi State struggles in conference, though, no doubt. 40% against the spread over their last 35 conference games in the SEC. And they've given up a ton of yards so far, so you figure with South Carolina, they've got a pretty good quarterback. The guy came in from, Oklahoma. He's been with South Carolina, though, certainly for a while now. And with their, having basically an NFL coordinator, I'm on South Carolina in this one. They've owned the series. They've won 7 of their last 8. Mississippi State, every time they come in here, they don't, last 3 trips, no covers. Total's gone under in 4 of the last 5, but this one has moved higher. Open 44, went all the way up to 50, but now back down to 47. So would feel like there's going to be some points. I don't know here if I'm doing it yet, but I'm on South Carolina. I'm laying 6. Can't be a premium now. Probably a premium at the opener. I got a pretty good record, you guys, but I'm not great on the openers. I don't hit the openers. I wait to see. I have a lot of confidence, but I like to see what those moves are. And well, we just got caught up a little bit and waiting. The week gets long. So I'm human. Wish we could get on everything earlier. What would our record be? All right. Thanks a lot, you guys. With that one, I'm on South Carolina, Texas, and Baylor. In this one, life is too short to pass. All right. Well, Texas big favorite here on the road. They're rolling. They're my number one, I guess, at this point. I'm not necessarily interested in supplanting them here at this point. I like what I see, and I like if this is different from all the other Texas, this is the year Texas, right? I mean, I think we can kind of agree to that. Not that they're number one in everybody's book, but I mean, if you talk about the top teams, the BCS finalists right now, Texas is right there. So it's amazing because they actually seemed like they were going downhill, right? I mean, they had won, they were on a streak where they were, winning about 67% of their games, and then the last 2 years, not so much, So, but in this one, this one's all the way up to 17. This one opened 13 at Circa when we were doing the show on Sunday. Was quickly bet up to 14, but now we're looking at 17. Boy, that almost gets you to the Baylor side here, but more so, I think it's going to be an under. At 48.5, it opened 52.5. I was, probably going to be premium here, but it's continued to move lower. Hey, I get it. With these two teams, I want to go under as well in the game between Texas and Baylor tonight. This one goes off at 7:30 Eastern and 4:30 Pacific. Baylor, of course, lost to Texas State 42-31 as a 27-point favorite, then lost to Utah 20-13 as a 7.5-point dog, however. So remember, they got the money there, but their offense not looking that good right now. Shapen, we do need to know probably his status. Maybe that's part of the problem with kind of putting it into the premium section here is that with Shapen coming into this game, what is his status going to be? I think the line kind of reflects what we already know, that he's out for this game, but he's got a semi-serious knee injury. So last I heard, he is out. So I think that affects things here, and I'm going to end up on the under. They've got a sophomore who will be making the start here in this one, and Baylor will have to have some focus on defense certainly here. Baylor 7-3 against the spread as a home underdog over the last 5 years. Doesn't happen too often. Maybe twice a year though. Tough conference teams coming in. So, okay. Well, I'm going to be here on the under 48.5. 48.5. What can I say? Looks like you guys had a few more comments on this one. In this one. And it is Texas for Thomas. Nathan says too many points still. Texas hasn't gone all that way. Nathan, though, Texas win. Baylor covers. Hello to Gary. Maybe these guys are going under with me. I've got one more college game to look at here with North Carolina and Pittsburgh. Check out you guys. I'm going to be rolling pretty heavy with college football in packages today. I know I was going to come on with a few more, but man, the more I delve into this card, hopefully, 30 plays or so out here on the shows will be enough. We got Tony as well with the picks, but feel strong. We got certainly, quite a few subscribers on this week with this run. So let's continue to get it done right now for everyone today that in the premiums today. Hopefully that's we're going to roll there. But hey, North Carolina tonight taking on Pitt as a nice talked about game certainly this evening on the late card. This one is, I believe, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, with Pittsburgh getting 7 points. Call it 7 now. Maybe juiced with North Carolina. Let's just call it 7. Or let's see what I have. Let me take a look what I have for the pick first. I remember what I say. Hey, I always give out the worst line so that when you get to the window, if that line is a little bit better, people always say, hey, do you still like the play at X number, right? These are premiums. We're talking premiums anyway. I guess on the freer plays, I guess there'd be less of a variance. But again, with freer plays, I kind of more of a gamble. But on the premium plays, you still want to stay with it. You're expecting when you're putting a premium in a much greater result, right? If you're giving out a premium at 7, you're probably in the back of your mind thinking, man, this is going to win by 10 or more. It's a premium. So half a point. Yeah, what I usually do is just taper back the size of the wagers a little bit. If you're going a nickel or a dime, you might just pull back 100 or 2 as a spread, or buy the point. Just kind of shape it a little bit. You know what they talk about, key numbers. You know what they are in football. It's not just, we know 3s and 7s, right? But we just know how scores go. We always talk about it. Oh, the scores are 1s, there's 2s, there's 3s, there's 6s, and there's 1s, there's 2s, there's 3s, and there's 6s. So, when you get into even in the different ranges, it gets a little goofier once you get, more points and whatnot. But there are some scores that rarely happen. So I'm going to try to find that chart and share it in the Discord. Some scores just don't happen that often, even on the higher numbers. Numbers like, 33, 36, 39. These are numbers that happen less for one team anyway, right? It can nowadays, especially with the 2-point conversion a little bit, but still. So I just pointed out, when you're bending numbers a little bit, 5, they call that a dead number, because 5, you can't get a 5. All right, North Carolina and Pittsburgh here. You guys are sophisticated. You don't need me to tell you what's going on. I feel like we've got the most sophisticated chat. All right, North Carolina against Pitt. Carolina coming in with that 3-0 record. Pitt just 1-2. We know, so far they lost to Cincinnati as a favorite. Remember in that one, 27-21, they were a 6-point favorite. And let's see. And they remember the game against West Virginia, 17-6. So disappointing results there for Pittsburgh, especially offensively. They just scored 45 points against their 1AA opponent. Pittsburgh's been, pretty strong last 2+ seasons anyway, winning 21 of the last 30 games, but just 16-13 against the number. They're getting the points here, obviously, at home, but Narduzzi hasn't been a great spread coach. At least he's getting the points here. North Carolina's won 7 of the last 9 meetings between these two. North Carolina is a team that wins, and, they kind of a 500 team against the spread. But last 3 years, 1-7-1 against the spread as a home favorite. They've got a nice quarterback, certainly, that, threw for a bunch of touchdowns. But North Carolina in conference hasn't been great. Just 7-10 in the ACC in their last 17 conference games. So, all right, let's see. Last 2 years, Tar Heels lost. Last 2 trips here. Let's take a look at these. Tar Heels lost 30-23 here in Pittsburgh, and then 34-27. They lost them both their last 2 trips here into Pittsburgh. All right. The over has come in 7 of the last 9 meetings between these 2 teams. All right. Well, man, you think Pittsburgh could get this offense going a little bit maybe here at home in this one. But man, the results certainly have been pretty dismal in some of these games at this point. North Carolina, they opened 6. It moved down to 5, but now the action's been coming in, and North Carolina all the way up to 7.5. Like I said, we can call it 7. I think we can call it 7. I'm not gonna probably not giving out the side here in this one. I'm probably not gonna make it to the probably not a premium. Probably not a premium here in this one. But I think with the total, man, the total has been so steady right there, sitting at 49.5 now. Yeah. All right, man. Carolina's looking good. Could they? Maybe we can take Carolina here. Let's lay 7 points with Carolina on the road. I kind of want to go on the total here because the line's not coming back. Look, I want to lay less than 6. It's never going back to 5. Nothing's happening here. All right, I'll just give out Carolina. I like Carolina. If I bet it, I'm probably taking it down under 6 points. Probably betting it to 5.5. That's that number that I'd be looking at. And like I said, the last 2 trips they've lost here, Carolina does look like certainly the better team coming in right now. Just laying a touchdown on the road at Pitt. But at least Carolina's done well enough in the series. Maybe they do hold some sort of advantage there. Nathan, yeah, Pittsburgh plays better at home. We know that. Yeah, you're right. All right, you guys. Thanks a lot. Looking at those college games today, just a handful more, and I'm firing today, you guys. It's going to be a lot of premium action. Hope you respect that. And I just have a 3-pack up right now to get you started, but they're going to be coming more fast and furious here a little bit. Averaging probably feels like so far this season 9 or 10, but we might get 12. Like I said, I'm whittling it down at this point. I think I just gave you, at least on the show, at least with some of these, at least 3 of them were possible premium still. The line move went against. It's not coming back. So I think you're going to get my best today. All right.